Engage with a conversation with someone this afternoon about post-remediation verification testing. When you have remediation of an area where you remove mold, you have to remove it to a background value. So how do you determine that? So they have a guideline in it. There's a lot of literature published on this, but it's called a PRV, post-remediation verification testing. And there's been a lot of argument anytime you attend conferences of what should be the measure of how clean is clean. All right. And the problem is you're trying to take samples that are horribly inaccurate, indoor air quality, and I've talked about this before. You're trying to use methods of measurement that are terribly inaccurate and compare that to some background value. Well, a lot of times they use outside the building as the background. Well, that's ridiculous, because there's very little communication between outside the house and inside the house. You close your windows, you close your doors. There's no communication between the two. And outside, you have a thing called the diurnal cycle. And a diurnal cycle is different times of the day. There's different moisture contents on grass or on trees, and there are different molds that produce their spores at different times of the day. So your background load, your background population that you're going to see is really going to depend on what time of the day you do your sampling. If you do it at 8 o'clock in the morning, you're going to get a whole different suite of background values than if you do it at 3 in the afternoon. And so you're trying to take that variable analysis that's happening outside and compare it to not only what is inside the building, but also what is within a chamber inside that building. So there's a buffer. What I'm trying to describe is there's a buffering system between the two. Now the argument is, why don't we just let go of the lab data that is so argumentative, and let's just go to a white glove test? And that's kind of my feeling is, I go behind, I'm hired to do PRVs for remediation companies, and people expect laboratory data, but and so sometimes I have to do it, but I'm extremely liberal with the differences between one area and another area. I am very cognizant that I'm putting a contractor in harm's way unnecessarily. Then I go in and do inspections, and they've left debris and there's mold left behind. And let me tell you, if you do a white glove test, you're in pretty good shape, in my opinion. All right. So just be aware. I don't think any contractor should ever accept a project if they do not know how they're going to be evaluated at the end. If you're going to hire a third-party consultant, do a PRV, you better interview those guys before you accept the project, because I'm telling you, they get technicians out there who have like 2 months worth of training, and they're going to do a PRV. Really? So you interview them, make sure that they're competent, and they attend conferences. They have an educational background to be able to evaluate what is the interpretation of laboratory data.